Okay, the next thing that your book talks about is the multiplication and division properties of equality, which basically state that you can multiply or divide both sides of an equation by the same thing, and it doesn't change the equation. You just have to balance the scales and do the same thing to both sides. So let's use those ideas to solve the following problems here. I have q divided by 5 equals negative 35. So what's the opposite of divide by 5? Multiply by 5. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. And when I do that, you can write this as 5 over 1. Well, that cancels. And I just get q on top and 1 on the bottom. So it's just q. And then the second one, if you need to use your calculator, you can, because it's kind of a big number. 35 times 5 is 175. And because one of the numbers was negative but not the other, my final answer has a negative in it. Now, what do you think I'm going to do next? Check my work. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to switch colors here, make this blue again. So I'm going to take this answer that I got right here and plug it into the original problem and see if I get a true statement or not. So I have negative 175 over 5 equals negative 35. And then you can check your calculator, divide that back out. So 175 divided by 5, I get 35, and then there was a negative there, so that means there'd be a negative in my final answer. And that means that I have a true statement. Negative 35 equals negative 35. So this was correct. Let's do another one. Now, this negative out in front here, you can actually attach that to the 2 if you want and get rid of it from there. And then what's the opposite of divide by negative 2? Well, multiply by negative 2. So I'm going to do that to both sides. So the negative 2's cancel, and I get z equals negative 5.2 times 2. You can use your calculator for that if you want to. So negative 5.2 times negative 2, and I get 10.4. And it's positive because the two negatives canceled and gave you a positive. So then, what do you think we do now? Bet we check our work. So let's take this 10.4, plug it back in the top, and we've got a negative that was originally out in front. And I want to know if these two things are the same. If you divide these two things, I think you will get negative 5.2 equals negative 5.2. So it checks out. This is our answer. And whoops, I want to make it a different color though so it stands out. And we should all be excited about this. I'm excited. Are you excited about this? Your friends, when they see you do this stuff today after school, they'll be like, man, I want to watch those movies because I want to be smart like you. So I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, so I got a joke for you now. What kind of vehicle do ice cream cones like to ride? Popsicles. Popcycles. You get it? That's a pretty good one. Okay, never mind. Alright, so anyhow, let's do some more problems here. When I have a fraction out in front of the variable, the way that I cancel out a fraction is to multiply by the reciprocal, which means flip. So, for example, I have 1/6 out here in front. I can cancel a 1/6 by multiplying by 6 over 1. And I do the same thing to both sides. And those cancel, and those cancel. And so the only thing I have left is x. And then when you multiply fractions, you multiply the top. Oh, but wait, before I multiply the top, I can actually cancel diagonally too. So 3 and 6 can both be divided by 3, and I get that. And then I multiply the top, and I multiply the bottom, so I get x equals 4. Okay? And then we check our work. So I have so to check it, I have 1/6 times 4 equals 2/3. And then 1/6 times 4, you can write that 4 over 1. divide both things by 2. I get a 2 there and a 3 there, so I get 2/3 equals 2/3, and that is a true statement, so everything is awesome. So, popsicle, that was pretty good, huh? Don't be stealing my jokes, by the way. I'm giving them to you for free, but don't you be giving them to everybody else. Okay, so anyhow, I'll talk to you later, so you go have a popsicle. Okay, so let's solve another problem by multiplying by the reciprocal for this one again. I want to get rid of 5/6, so I will multiply both sides by 6/5. And do the same thing on that side. And when I do that, those cancel and those cancel, and I get y by itself. And then over here, I can cancel diagonally. I divide everything by 3. I get a 2 there and a 3 there. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 5 is 15. And why didn't I cancel side to side? Because we never cancel side to side, diagonally or up and down only. And then the next thing we do, we check our work. So to check it, I take this 8/15 and I plug it into the original equation, just like we did in the last chapter. We did things like this. And, well, I can simplify a little bit here. The 5 and the 15 will cancel, and I get 1 here and 3 there. And then the 6 and the 8 can both be divided by 2, so I get a 3 there, and I get a 4 there. And 1 times 4 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9. I don't know why I put a 3 there. And I see that both sides are the same, so my answer that I got was correct. So I hope you enjoy this problem. Let's do another one now. Negative 4x equals 24. Okay, now this is the first problem where I had multiplication. So the opposite of multiply by negative 4 is to divide by negative 4. So I will do that on both sides. And I get x equals, well, 24 divided by negative 4 is negative 6. And you check that. So I'm going to take that negative 6 and plug it in for x. And negative 4 times negative 6, does that equal 24? Sure does. So this was my correct answer. And then the last one I'm going to do for you, I've got 1.1x equals 33. What's the opposite of multiply by 1.1? Divide by 1.1. So I do that on both sides. And if you want to use your calculator, you can. Actually, I'm going to show you a trick for this one. So those cancel on the left, and I get x. Here, what you can do is, see this decimal point here? Move both decimal points on top and bottom the same amount, and you're allowed to do that. So I actually have 330 over 11. And you might be able to do a little mental math and do that in your head, and you will find that you get 30 when you do that. Or if you want to, you use your calculator. So 33 divided by 1.1, I get 30. Okay, and then guess what you do? You check your work. So I have 1.1 times 30 equals 33. And when you multiply all that out with your calculator, I think you're going to get 33 on each side, and you're going to be really happy here. So that was my check. And then over here I had a check also right there. So those are my checks. I wish I had a check right now. It's not even close to payday. Kind of stinks actually, but it'll get there eventually, I guess. You know, you got to wait sometimes. So anyhow, I'll talk to you later, and I hope you enjoyed this.